Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our free talk from Nourish and Restore with Nina Sachs and myself, Nicole Panzer. Our second night of our free live talk, and the topic of conversation is Nourishing Self. So yesterday we ran through a couple of topics of owning our stuff with regards to perhaps not having been able to nourish ourselves in the ways that we've needed to or even wanted to. This evening's topic of conversation is going to be forgiveness. So part of our conversation yesterday was a homework that we had, which was really just for us to be able to look into what it is that we had chosen to try and work towards being able to nourish ourselves. The topics were sleep, exercise, meals, as well as social relationships. If anybody wants to share the insight, you can do that on the chat, or we can also discuss a couple of things that have come up for you, if you like, in our Q&A after the session. Otherwise, always feel free to please email Nina or myself on the Nourish and Restore email address. Good. So just to start off today, I think we would just like to move through a little grounding exercise so that we can really make sure that we're here, being Friday, that we've left the week behind us, the day, and we can really move into this practice with a nice grounded, present sense of being. So just making sure that you're seated in a comfortable posture, sitting in your chair or on the floor with an upright spine. So just making sure that perhaps letting family members know that specifically for this exercise that you will not be disturbed for the next couple of minutes. We're going to start by closing our eyes, feeling our sit bones grounded on the chair that we're sitting on, or perhaps on the floor. If we're seated in a chair, feeling the soles of our feet connected to the ground. And then very gently and slowly bringing our awareness and attention to our breath. Feeling the breath moving in through the nostrils and out of the mouth. Breathing in a little bit deeper, and then allowing the exhalation to be a little bit fuller, perhaps even pulling navel to spine. Doing 4 more breaths like this, breathing in through the nostrils and breathing out through the mouth. Breathing in through the nostrils and out through the mouth. Good. 2 more like that. Good, and then once again feeling yourself grounding and connecting with Mother Earth, our earth element, the stability. Perhaps even visualizing yourself growing roots into the ground. And then once you're feeling that connection with Mother Earth, that groundedness, allow yourself to feel into that a little bit. What does that feel like to you? And then here also just experiencing the space that you're allowing yourself to be in right now, in this groundedness. And then when I mention to you the word forgiveness, what comes up for you and what does it feel like? Are there any sensations that you feel in your body? When you think of the word forgiveness, does your body automatically start feeling a little bit frazzled? Does it start feeling a little bit heavier? Or perhaps the opposite, perhaps it makes you feel peaceful and calm. Allow yourself to just explore what's coming up for you. Not holding on to anything that's coming up, but just to almost look at it as if you were looking at a crystal ball in your hand. So looking at forgiveness in front of you in your hand. What does it feel like and look like to you? Acknowledging all that's coming up for you. The emotions, sensations, thoughts, visions even. Good. And then allow yourself to take a nice deep breath here. And as you're taking a deep breath, visualize yourself grabbing all that's coming up and moving it away from you. Allowing yourself to release it and let it go. So if you need to do that a couple of more times, take a deep breath in. Grab all your thoughts, your visions, your emotions, sensations, and just gently give it permission to leave. Take 2 more breaths like that again. Good. And then on your last exhalation, bring your awareness and attention back to the soles of your feet, connecting to Mother Earth, your sit bones grounded. And then gently and slowly bring your awareness back into your body, back into your being. Perhaps moving your head from side to side. Moving into your upper body a little bit. And then very gently and slowly start opening your eyes. Feeling grounded, centered, and ready to begin the evening. Good. So if you want to quickly jot down what came up for you, you're more than welcome to do that. If you had any visions, any thoughts that have come up, anything that you find needs to perhaps be worked on that you can bring into the practice that we are doing this evening, then please do so. And then I'm going to be handing over to Nina. Thank you, Nina.
Evening, everyone. So lovely to be with you all again. So yes, thanks, Nicole, for that lovely kind of grounding practice. And for me, I'm not sure how you guys felt, but I started, when I had to feel forgiveness, experience kind of this yikes, this heavy sensation. There's like this constriction, this tightness. And then I'm thinking, no, but I'm a good person. I'm a yoga person. I need to, do forgiveness. It should be something that comes naturally and easily. And then there was a feeling of guilt. So there were all these funny emotions that kind of went through for me. So I'm, just letting you guys know that that's what happened for me. So whatever happened for you is absolutely 100% fine. And it's just acknowledging exactly what it is we're feeling without judging it too much. So when we think of the word forgiveness, it really is such a simple word, but it is such a difficult action or emotion to navigate. Um, when we think of forgiveness, forgiving a stranger is usually quite easy. If someone bumps you in the shopping mall, for example, and they say sorry, you kind of like, oh yeah, okay, no problem. But then when it comes to kind of closer friends, to forgive them, it's usually a little harder. Family members, a little harder. And then usually the hardest thing is to forgive ourselves if there's something that we have done wrong. So just noticing often that forgiveness kind of is on a different kind of scale depending who we're operating with. And then the other really important thing about forgiveness, and I'll read a little extract from, I think it was John Friend who said it. But when someone has hurt or angered you, your sympathetic nervous system springs into action to protect you, unloading stress chemicals to prepare you to fight or flee the situation. And unfortunately, the sympathetic nervous system has no way of knowing whether this perceived threat comes from an immediate danger. So, for example, a snake that you need to get away from, or something that happened literally 20 years ago. So every time you relive that old memory, your autonomic nervous system goes straight into that kind of stress mode. And every time you're thinking, so if you're a person who thinks a lot in their day and you're kind of reliving past experiences, you're constantly putting your sympathetic nervous system into action. And what's going to happen is that you're going to exhaust yourself and, cause a lot of stress. That's where a lot of also your adrenal fatigue often hits in. So kind of stuffing down our hurt and our anger only makes things a lot worse. And, often we say, I'm just going to letting go of the pain and this and that. But letting go in a sense is good, but you need to know, is it a true letting go, or is it just something that you are compressing and hiding within? Because as soon as you say that you are kind of letting it go, but in reality, it is still there, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper into your physical body. And that is where it can then manifest into ailments or issues. And for each person, it will show up differently. Then and very often it will come in as like a physical tension. So people will experience tightness around their neck, or maybe in their chest, or in their abdomen, the kind of the clamping down of the jaws. So that is just something to consider. And then if you maybe just come outside for a moment, and because it's always good to do kind of a little bit of movement. And if you think, just very simply, if you do like a back bend, if you just stand up and you kind of lean backwards, is that easy for you this evening? Does it feel comfortable? And if you move kind of forward, if you bend your knees and you go into a forward bend type of movement, is that comfortable? So maybe just do that twice more, inhaling, where you just maybe stretch up and back and open, and then maybe just exhale and fold forward. And noticing which movement is more easeful for you and which one maybe feels a little harder. And then when you're ready, you can always just come back to wherever you were sitting and what you were doing. And the reason why I just wanted to do that is not just obviously to get up and move, but often back bends are heart opening. They're opening, and if we feel very comfortable in back bends, we're often very much a giver. So we're very willing to bend over backwards for other people. And often when we do forward folds and we fall forwards easily, it's kind of more protection of the heart. And both are obviously good. We need to interact with the external world. We need to be giving of ourselves. And we also need to be a little protecting of ourselves. So it's a balance between this forward movement and this backward movement, and finding that happy medium for both. And when we're needing a little bit of support, going into that forward space, and when we feel that we can give outwards, experiencing the back bends. So I just wanted to kind of bring that topic into play this evening to think about. And yeah, just from there, moving then straight onto what we were doing last night, the topics of last night, our the idea of rest, our meals, our exercise, and our social interactions. And let's get into maybe analyzing one of them a little more. And I thought we would look at the social uh, kind of interactions, because that was one that was very big last night for most people. So the first thing that we need to do when it comes to forgiveness is obviously take responsibility. So this is where the work we did yesterday is really important. If we can't take responsibility for our life or our situation or our choices, we end up playing the blame game and we get stuck and we struggle to progress. So we then end up being out of flow, which is very frustrating. So the vital thing is last night owning your stuff. And that's what we did with the practice, where were we lacking in one of the four topics, and just being honest with ourselves and saying, okay, maybe I needed to do a bit more exercise, maybe I need to eat more healthily, I need to go to bed early, I need better rest, or I need to have more or less social interactions. And then with your homework, you would have maybe put an action plan together. So when we look at social responsibility, you would have maybe thought of, okay, I need to increase my social interactions with friends. Maybe that is your goal. That was your goal. I need more friend time. So what were you going to do? All right, have interactions with friends either in person or online. So that is kind of like the where story. Can you meet in person at the moment, or would you have to do it online? And then the how. So say you decide, okay, well, it'll have to be online. So what medium am I going to use? Am I going to use Zoom? Am I going to use Skype? Am I going to do WhatsApp? You've got to narrow it down. And then you've obviously got to do the when, you've got to set your date and your time and schedule it in. So we've got a whole kind of action plan to reach that goal. Then the third aspect to that, which is really, really important, is the motivation. And if we don't have the motivation to do and what we want to follow through with the action, then we often fail in a sense. And failing is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because we always learn. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for a moment again. And as you sit there, ground down through those sitting bones, like Nicole mentioned a moment ago. And think of the one topic that springs to mind. Either the rest, the meals, the exercise, or the social aspect. And what is it? Think of the goal that you wanted it to achieve. And why is it that you want to achieve that goal? What is the reason? And whatever comes up, just notice it. But what is your why? Why do you want to achieve that goal? And then take 3 slow, deep breaths. And letting it go. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes again. And it's very simple practice, but it's quite powerful because often our why is, again, not what we think. Sometimes it has a positive connotation. So, why we want to do something, maybe, it is for a certain health benefit. But sometimes it can also kind of be from a negative side where, I want to eat less sugar because one of my parents had diabetes, or, and I don't want to go down that route. So it's a fear-based aspect. And again, either way, if it's positive or negative, in a sense, it doesn't matter as long as it helps you to reach your goal, your desired state. And because I am a little bit of a analyst nerd, I like to work things out quite or in an organized way. I have put together like a little kind of practical sheet on how to maybe work this out systematically. So if this is not really your thing, please just bear with me for 5 minutes. But if you are a bit of more of an analyst like me, then this might help to make a bit of sense. So, for example, when we look at an action, so with the social interactions, the action was to maybe have that meeting with your friend, the phone call with your friend. So either you did the action and it happened, or you didn't do the action. Now, if you did the action, you can pretty much have three results. You either felt good afterwards, you kind of felt average afterwards, or you kind of felt maybe bad or worse afterwards. So you did the action and you maybe have three options of how you felt. You maybe had a nice time with your friend, and you afterwards you maybe had a good evening or a bad evening, who knows. Or you felt average, maybe you didn't get to speak about all the things you wanted to, or there were some interruptions and it kind of wasn't a conversation that went so. Or maybe, you left feeling bad. Maybe, there were animals disturbing or kids disturbing, or the internet connection wasn't great. And you really felt crap or annoyed, or maybe you ended up having an argument with a friend about a topic that you discussed. And the idea is that even though you had done the goal, you'd reached it in a sense, you may have a different outcome. It may feel good, not good, or average. And to acknowledge that and also be forgiving about it. So maybe you need to forgive yourself. Maybe you need to forgive your friend, or maybe you need to forgive the situation or whatever caused frustration. So I'm going to invite you again to close your eyes for a minute. And we're going to do a very, very simple forgiveness practice. So take 3 smooth breaths just to settle again. A nice smooth breath in, a nice smooth breath out. And think of a person that needs forgiving. And don't think of like a big person that you've had, or a person that you've had a massive fight with or argument. Maybe just something small that needs forgiving. Maybe you just had a discussion or an altercation with your partner or a friend or your mother or something like that about a silly topic. So just choose something easy and visualize that person in front of you. And see yourself saying to them, I forgive you, and I ask that you forgive me. And just imagine saying that to the person again. I forgive you, and I ask that you forgive me. And do that one last time. I forgive you, and I ask that you forgive me. And then imagine seeing it in reverse, where you see your friend or the person that's had that interaction with saying to you, I forgive you, and I ask that you forgive me. Again, and now imagine that person saying to you, I forgive you, and I ask that you forgive me. Do that one last time. I forgive you, and I ask that you forgive me. And then just release the tension or the emotion that surrounds it. And then when you're ready, take a breath or two and you can open your eyes. Good. So that's a really simple, quick forgiveness practice. So when someone cuts you off in traffic or annoys you at work, just imagine that person in front of you, close your eyes and just imagine saying, I forgive you, and I ask that you forgive me. And it just helps to kind of settle and release the tension and the energy around the situation. Right. So now back to my little analysis. So remember, we were saying either you did the action to reach your goal, or you didn't do it. And if you didn't do it, for example, you didn't set up the meeting with your friend, again, you either feel good, you feel average, or you feel bad. You know, maybe you're quite actually that happy that you actually had time to yourself that evening to have a glass of wine and, you know, watch TV or do a yoga class or whatever. Maybe you feel average, maybe you feel really crap. But generally, what I found is that the underlying feeling is that if you didn't do the action, there's a sense of guilt hidden underneath. I should have done it, and now I feel a little guilty, and guilt is, I mean, that's a whole topic on its own, which I'm sure we'll cover at some point in time. But when we go there again, we need to maybe just do that forgiveness for ourselves and take responsibility, and maybe go back to the drawing board and maybe be realistic about our outcomes. Maybe you are just too busy to actually set aside that time at that time for a friend or an interaction. Maybe you need to adjust. So it's looking at the action plan again and seeing, okay, maybe I need to reassess this into a realistic schedule for myself. Yeah, kind of, just because you reach a kind of a stop street or a robot on your journey doesn't mean you stop going on your holiday. You keep going. You just pause for a moment, you readjust, and then you go on. So that is all kind of the analysis side of things out of the way. And just remembering that also when you forgive someone, it doesn't mean that you accept the action or you're okay what they've done, but you acknowledge the person as a whole and you forgive the person. So just remember, John Friend says it really nice. He says, don't confuse forgiveness with acceptance. You don't have to condone someone's behavior to forgive. And forgiveness simply allows us to let go of the hold that that person has on us. And the other thing is, forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It is important to not forget, because if we forget, by not forgetting, it helps us set boundaries for future. We'll know in future not to do X, Y, and Z. So just kind of making that a little clearer and noting that, you know, the idea of a forgiveness practice is so powerful because it releases the tension and the hold that that person has on us, but it is not condoning the practice or that aspect of it. So that is our little spiel on forgiveness and working with it and towards it, and just acknowledging it as a practice. And Nicole might have one or two more things to add, and then she's going to guide us through a really, really beautiful forgiveness meditation. But I'll let her talk on about that one.
Thank you so much, Nina. I really loved the I forgive you and I ask you to forgive me. It's such a beautiful, it came up to be for me as being such a beautiful, simple way of doing it, you know. It felt really, really good. So thank you. And I hope that all of you can make use of that as well. I think it's such a beautiful, quick exercise. Like you said, don't choose somebody that you know, is on the list of forgiveness for the last 20 or 40 years, depending on how old we are. But something short and sweet that happened maybe a couple of days ago. So yes, so forgiveness for me is so powerful because also you said that it doesn't mean that it's okay for how people have maybe treated you, or maybe you have to forgive yourself for how you've treated people. But it allows you to look at the situation in a different light, and it allows you to see where you've gotten wrong, or you know, there's never a right or wrong really, but see what has been shown to you in order for you to know how to do it better next time round. And the whole guilt around the matter really also is something that shows us and is a sign to us that there is still something there for us to look at. And so important, you know, because the minute we feel anything other than relieved or content, you know, not necessarily having to feel that elated happiness after forgiveness. I don't think that that is normal either, but a sign to us to say, okay, look, we are still carrying a little bit of guilt around this. Maybe there's something that we need to perhaps revisit at a later time. So the meditation that I'm going to be doing with you now is definitely something a little bit deeper than what Nina had mentioned earlier on. It's a practice that we can really use for those people that we've boxed for the last 20 to 40 years. But it's also something that we can use in a more light-hearted sense of forgiveness. It's what for us to use and choose to use however we feel necessary and comfortable to do so. And you know, perhaps some of you have already heard of it. It's the Ho'oponopono. It's a Hawaiian technique of forgiveness, and it's where we really open up a platform of forgiving a person, of letting that person go if it's not somebody in our immediate circle of friends or family, or clearing the slate in a sense and allowing a new relationship to be built after this energetic release. So once again, asking you to please come into a comfortable position. Feeling yourself seated, your spine nice and upright. And just moving into that space of forgiveness. Perhaps you're feeling it in your heart. Perhaps you're feeling it in your solar plexus. And then perhaps see who comes up for you in this exercise for you to forgive, or for them to forgive you. It can happen either way. And seeing this person standing in front of you, and just having a look at this person, just having a look at who they are, seeing them for the being that they are, a being just like you, trying to make the best out of their life, out of their situation, and doing life as best as they can. And whatever might have happened between the two of you, you've obviously pulled this person up into this meditation because you are ready to be forgiven or to forgive yourself. So as you look at this person, either looking at them in their face, in their eyes, or perhaps they're standing a little bit further away from you, say the words, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you." And in the beginning, those words might sound a little bit forced. They might not feel comfortable. So continue with that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And repeat those words until all of a sudden you feel this emotion of contentment, of peace and quiet move over you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And when we talk about I love you, a lot of people immediately have this feeling of, I can't love that person, of blah, 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 what they did to me. But no, it's a deep sense of love that you have for yourself. It's a deep sense of love that you have for the universe, for everything that surrounds you. We are one, and one is all. So I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. There's an acceptance in that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Good. So if this person is somebody that you never have to see again in your life, or you haven't seen them for a while, then you can ask them to leave. Or perhaps they have already done so by you repeating the Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. See them moving away until you can't see them anymore. They're walking into the distance, into the horizon, and they are gone. Then visualize the space that they were standing in front of you, filled with love, with a beautiful golden light of love. And perhaps even allowing yourself to feel this love in your heart space. Filling that void of that memory of all that you've been carrying with yourself up until the point of this forgiveness exercise. So feel your whole body filling up with love and let it go. Good. So if the person is somebody that is a relative or somebody that will be in your life for the rest of your life, then clearly they haven't left yet. They are still standing in front of you. And here you can have the opportunity of letting them know how you would feel comfortable to move forward in your relationship by setting boundaries. So just tapping into yourself now to see how you would feel comfortable interacting with this person. How would it be not only comfortable for you, but for everybody involved, including the person? And allow this message to come from your heart space into their heart space. So you are now creating a heart-to-heart link with each other. And allowing that acceptance of this to sink in for both of you. And forgiving yourself in the matter as much as you've forgiven them. Good. And sometimes you'll be surprised. Sometimes you'll even find yourself in the meditation giving each other a big hug and maybe even having a laugh, or perhaps not at all. Perhaps just acknowledging each other, being grateful for this opportunity to have exchanged forgiveness. Then really visualize yourself being surrounded by the golden light of compassion and love. surrounding both of you in order for you both to move forward from this situation for the highest good of all involved. Good. And this exercise can also be adapted to the exercise that we did last night. So whether it is social relationships, food, exercise, sleep, you can forgive yourself by saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And here, speaking to your inner child, forgiving yourself for having stood in the way of something better for yourself. Good. So just ending off the practice here. Taking in a nice deep breath, being grateful for this opportunity to have been able to forgive, to clean the slate, to acknowledge, to be present. And then another deep breath, grounding yourself in through the sit bones, the soles of your feet. And then very gently opening your eyes. And if you feel the need to journal anything that might have come up for you, please feel free to do that. It can be quite a deep meditation. All depends on exactly what you are needing at the time, the person that you are bringing into the meditation, even if you are doing it for yourself, for self-forgiveness. Good. So handing you over to Nina again.
Thanks, Nicole. That is always such a lovely meditation, such a beautiful practice. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it, and that it is something that you'll be able to use going forward. It's such simple words, but they've got such deep and powerful meaning. The I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And with that, when we do forgiveness work, it can be emotional and it can sit in our body. And a nice practice that both of us thought to do is to do some shaking, because shaking just releases a whole load of pent up kind of energy, and it just moves it to the extremities and to release that. So we did a little practice last night, and let's go a little bit further with a little bit more intention this evening. So let's come up standing. I'll move back a little. And we're actually just going to start off by shaking our right arm. So just the right arm, and just let that right arm shake and let it feel loose and comfortable. And feel that you can kind of move from the shoulder as well. And just noticing kind of, it feels like that right arm is like a separate entity of your body. Everything else is kind of just relaxed, but it's just this right arm that is just doing a bit of work. And then release that and shake your right leg. So give that right leg a little bit of a shake from the ankle, the knee. Again, whoopsie, trying to hold your balance. Giving that right leg a shake. Maybe just standing still for a moment. Just noticing how your right side feels to the left. There's already a kind of like a different energetic sensation between the right side of the body and the left. And we'll do the same with the left. So just get your left arm to do a little bit of shaking, the wrists from the elbow, the shoulder, let it kind of all feel loose and happy and light. My dog is looking at me like I'm absolutely nuts. And then release that right arm. And then your left arm, and shake your left leg now. Just kind of give that leg a little bit of shake up to the side, out in front, over to the other side. And it might be kind of like a quite strong, intense shake, or it might just be a very kind of light kind of movement. And then release that movement and allow your whole body to shake. So your arms, your head, let your butt do a little bit of a wiggle. You might even want to move around as if you're doing some weird kind of dancing. The legs go, the arms go, and now allow it to be kind of like a lot more intentional. So allow it to be quite like a strong shake. Shake, shake, shake. And you might even find that you just want to release some sound. So you might just and release the breath. You might want to sing. You might want to shout a little, whatever it feels. But you just want to go at it for a while. The arms might want to go up, and you might want to go down. My dog really has no idea what is happening right now. And then allow it to become a little softer, a little lighter, kind of where you just start maybe swaying a little from side to side. And when you're ready and you bring yourself to kind of like a soft standing position, close the eyes for a moment. And allow the breath to flow in and out easily and smoothly. Just notice how you feel. Any sensations? There might be a little bit of tingling. Maybe it feels like all the cells in your body are smiling and jumping for joy, like your liver is happy and your lungs are happy and your heart is happy. And then when you're ready, you can open up your eyes. Well done, everyone. Here we go. That's it. And yeah, Nicole will take you through just a little bit of a thank you for being here with us this evening again.
That was amazing. I love a good shake.
Isn't it just fabulous, eh?
I must be honest, I use it a lot. The minute I hear news that doesn't feel good for me, or anything happens that I immediately feel it in my body, and often just feel like I need to give myself a good shake.
So you'll see Nicole walking around the shops and she'll be like, oh.
So thanks for that, Nina. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us again. Really, it's so lovely to be able to share and put it into practice ourselves. And make use of the meditation, make use of the practice as you feel you need, and share it, share it with loved ones, share it with friends. I really feel that we both really feel that it's so important for us to really just be open, be honest, assist each other on this journey of life. It really is a journey of assisting each other home into wholeness and fullness. And so, yeah. If anybody has any questions, once again, please jot them into the chat or message Nina and I. Homework this evening, is to make use of what we've shared with you this evening. Perhaps doing another meditation before you go to bed, or doing one tomorrow morning of forgiveness, whether wanting to use the I forgive you, please forgive me, or wanting to do the whole Ho'oponopono. It's always so important to feel into ourselves to see what it is that we're needing and would benefit most from at the moment. And then tomorrow evening, we have our last night from our free chat or immersion. And tomorrow evening, we're going to be bringing it all together for you. And we're going to have a little bit more fun. So thanks again for this evening. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow evening again. If you're watching this as a replay, please comment below or send us a message if there's anything that you need assistance with or have questions on. Okay, so
sorry, yes, no, absolutely lovely. I just thought I'd throw in there. And just with kind of like our little e-workbook, I don't know if you can see that little picture, but just the importance of small steps. You know, if we prepare to take just little steps, we will get to our goal. If we try and make the goal too big or the steps too big, you don't even get to start. So start with something simple that is doable. You know, like if you've had a massive fight with a person, it might just be too much of a difficult practice to try and forgive them. So start with something simple, something easy, like, you know, maybe kind of forgiving the barking dog from last night or something like that. Start with something simple. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I thought I'd throw in there.
No, that's beautiful. I love that picture of the ladder with the big spacing in between the slats. And then the ladder with the smaller spacing, because the smaller the spacing, the easier it is for us to get up. So thanks for reminding everybody about that. And yes, wishing everybody a beautiful evening. Enjoy, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow night.
Lovely. See you all then.
Bye.